Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. This episode is called 100 Beacons. The reason I have given it that name is because that's what we're going to be doing in this episode. We will be getting ourselves 100 beacons. Now have a look at my XP level and think about the last few episodes of this series that you've watched. In between all of those episodes, recording them, doing the various things I've been doing, I've been going back and forth to this wither farm and AFKing here for as much as I can. Now I'm sure some of you have heard it from the other hermits. I've seen a few of them mentioning it in their videos that I've been AFK over here, but that's what I've been doing, and it has taken a seriously long time, probably about a week or two now, but I've managed to get to this point where we have enough wither skulls for 100 beacons, which is absolutely crazy. Now the reason that I wanted so many beacons was to beacon up my base over a large area, and I figured out in total I think I needed 80 beacons to do what I wanted to do. And so I thought, well, if we're going to get that many, why don't we get the extra 20 and do a solid 100. So in this episode we're going to be killing 100 withers, crafting 100 beacons. I've got to get myself loads of glass, that's not going to be a problem. We've got blaze rods, we've got sand back at the base, and we need some obsidian, so we're probably going to have to take a trip to the end for that. And yeah, there's not much else to say really. This sword right here, I have gone for it once and then repaired it with 2 diamonds, so I've well and truly used that, and that's a great present from Slip right there. Must remember he got me that, because otherwise I don't think I would have been using a looting sword, and this would have taken a lot longer. It's really difficult to get that enchantment. You can see here I've been getting tons of blocks of coal and gold. I've got loads of that back at my base. This is just the last trip that I've done. And if we have a look at my stats, that's the wrong place. That's the wrong one as well. There we go, statistics. I'm basically not reading the menu, I'm just clicking at random. We want to go to mobs. Now unfortunately skeletons are counted as wither skeletons as well, or the other way around, if that makes sense. But you can see here almost 9,000 killed in the process of getting those, and if we go down here, 51,000 for Enderman. There you go. I haven't spent as much time here. Well, most of the time I spend here is waiting for them to spawn, letting them gather up in groups and then killing them, and I think I have one more than I need, and I can actually show you how much we have. 1 second. And there we go. So I've split them up like that. We have 3 lots of 100. I'm going to sort that out in a moment. Let's just put it back in there, and we have 1 extra. But I want to grab my sword and see if we can get another one before we leave this place. Now, if you haven't seen this place before, it is the Wither Skeleton Farm. There's a few episodes of it. If you go and look through the Hermitcraft playlist, there's always a link in the description box. You can find them just by looking at the thumbnails of the videos. That's actually not the most useful thing, because most of the time the thumbnail from one video is for the episode before it. That's just kind of how I've always done things, just show you what I did in the last episode, because I don't really want to give anything away. But you can have a look through there if you want to know how all of this place was built. And while I was over here, I did want to modify it and add an item filter, but there wasn't enough redstone lying around, so I didn't do that. However, I did modify these stairs at the end. I put an extra block of glowstone, and that was just because it was annoying. You'd always get to the end and then you'd and drop down a block, so it was a little bit silly. I decided to change that at both ends. That made it a little bit more convenient. But I do want to make some modifications, but I'm sick of the sight of this place. I think it's time to head back to the wastelands. And we're back at last. I've been spending too much time over that wither farm, but we finally got enough skulls. And before we go and fight those withers, I want to explain the beacon layout, because I put a fair bit of thought into this, and I think it's quite interesting. So let's go over to there, where we got a little bit of space. Now the entrance to our base is over there, where the quartz is. That is also the centre of the entire wastelands region. There are 4 chunks, and our entrance is right in the middle. However, it's an odd width, so it's going to have a single block in the middle that doesn't quite line up with those chunks, but that's not really an issue. What's interesting is the way we're going to lay out the beacons means we're going to get the effects of those beacons wherever we go in the wastelands. So this being the central block, we're going to have 4 different sets of beacons at equal distance from this, and we're going to do it so that the beacons that are here are going to be 50 blocks away from this one, as this is on this side, and it means when you're standing right here in the middle, you're actually getting the effects from both of them. Now that doesn't stack up or do anything like that, but what it does mean is that the effects of the beacons are always going to be overlapping. So wherever you go in the Wastelands region, you're going to have those beacons giving you effects. Now each of these blocks here, the 4 around the centre, they actually represent what will be a cluster of iron blocks and beacons like that. Now the layout for this is, I think, 2 extra blocks on the side. That looks right. let's just fill these in quickly. So this is going to be the top of our cluster of iron blocks, so a hell of a lot of iron is going to go into this, and then we're going to have 5 beacons like this. Now I don't know what the effects are going to be as of yet, but they're going to be the same on each group of 5 beacons, and because of what I was just describing a moment ago about the overlap, what we're going to do is have it so we arrange these in the same way. So this one here is always the same when you're standing in the same position on each group of beacon blocks, and then that means that this one is a couple of blocks, well actually it's 1 block further away from that overlap in the middle, but then this one is closer, so they still overlap. And then that means wherever you go in the Wastelands area, all of these beacon effects are going to overlap over absolutely everything, which is super awesome. I also think I should double check that just in case I am wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. So anyway, the reason that we were going to get so many beacons is because when we do this, when I lay it out, I'm going to show you that now, you'll see how many we actually need. So those 4 that I was talking about just there around the central point, they will be the first 4. That is 4 groups of 5. That is 20 beacons right there. Then we're going to add another 10 on this side, so that's 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 and 80, and we are going to create a massive grid of beacons that overlap and give us the potion effects, or the beacon effects, whatever you want to call them, of those beacons in the entire Wastelands area. Now this seems a little bit crazy to me. It feels like I'm missing something here, but I'm pretty sure I got it right. The beacon effect range is 50 blocks, so between this one and this one that's 100 blocks, then we have 200, we have 300, and then from those ones to the edge is an extra 50 on each side, so that's 400. And with these beacons we're going to be covering a 400 by 400 block area, which I think is actually bigger than the Wastelands itself, which is pretty crazy, and it almost doesn't sound right, which is why I think I've made a mistake. So I'm obviously going to double check everything, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. It just feels like it should be a little bit harder than that, like there should be more beacons, but I don't know, it's probably right. Anyway, I should stop babbling about it and we should go and kill those withers. So I've been spending some time getting prepared to fight these withers, and I came up here and there was a load of netherrack, and I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to put down some cobblestone like this, and then it got me thinking that we could actually build a nice little room up here to fight the withers in. So maybe that's a project for the future, but one important thing that I've changed, I put a pressure plate back here, and I was thinking instead of using the lever, why don't we try this? What we'll do is we'll build the wither, and then when it forms we'll take a step back and it will automatically push up for us. Now if you haven't seen this before, we have this flat 3x3 bedrock right here, and in the middle there is an air block above this one, which means we can actually push the wither up into the bedrock when it's forming, and then it's going to stay up there and not be able to escape and not be able to attack us, which makes killing these very easy. Now one thing that I thought about when I was getting prepared to do this is how much of my sword are we actually going to be using here, because we're killing 100 withers, so we could hit each wither 8 times with this sword, which I think would be enough to kill it, but if it's not, I've got another one in reserve. And you can see here I've also got some potions as well. That's just me being a little bit paranoid. And I also had to go and collect a load of soul sand from the nether, because that was another thing that I had overlooked. But this room now connects up to King Daddy D-Max portal, nether tunnel, whatever you want to call this thing. So nice and easy way to find it, and now it looks pretty good. But this could take some time, you know, we've got to kill 100 withers. I don't think that's really set in. I'm just going to be standing here for quite some time, building wither after wither and killing them one by one. Well, that turned out to be one of the most boring things I think I've ever done in Minecraft. That was tedious, it took a long time. We now have 100 nether stars, which is amazing. But I was going to put that into a time lapse. I had my second account, xisumavoid, over here recording, and very quickly it became aware that that would make a very boring time lapse, because I was basically just standing here doing the same thing over and over again. Not much really that was that interesting. Now when I first did this I completely screwed up, because we had the pressure plate at the back. I stood on that to push the piston up, and then I walked away. Now what you're supposed to do is leave the piston up. So I'm going to show you a clip of the first one that I tried to kill. What happened was the piston pushed it up, then it fell back down, and that allowed it to break all of the blocks in the room. So I kept on using the pressure plate for a while, and I was crouching like this to make sure I stayed on the pressure plate, and it was just kind of tedious, so I went back to using the lever. But anyway, there's that clip on the screen right now for you to see of me messing it up. Let's head back to the base. One of the things that I had to do while I was doing all of that was take a trip back, first of all to get some more food, because it was going through my hunger. You know, swinging that sword, jumping up and down to get those critical hits, it took a really long time, and the critical hits made quite a difference. And if you have a look here, this sword is almost done. I actually repaired one of the swords with the XP that I got from killing the Wither. I already had a lot of it as it was. You can see I now have 67 levels, and I think it costs 36 levels to repair this sword, which is what we are going to do now. And then we're going to make a trip over to the end, because we need to get ourselves some obsidian, and last time I did that, I had a little chat on screen, showed you I was getting the obsidian, and I got a lot of suggestions saying, why don't you go to the end? You could go over there and harvest the obsidian that's there. So I thought, that's a good idea. Why don't we do that this time instead of doing it the other way, which seems to be a lot slower. But before we do that, I actually want to talk about the base, because I think it was in the last episode that I had a little chat saying that I was struggling to make progress with the base. Now I had to change my ideas, and I do have some ender pearls, which is good. Let's throw an ender pearl. Will we get in? Will we land on it? No, we landed behind it. And you can see there's some leftover cobblestone here. I just jump up and down on this stuff to get in, and I often fail like that as well. Should really put in a ladder. Let's do this. Right, there we go. Now we'll be able to get in nice and easy, and we'll drop down this way. So I had a chat saying that, and I don't have feather falling on. Okay, give me a moment. Give me a moment. Get out of my base. So, what happened there? Well, I had this armor on because I was fighting the Wither. I didn't want all of this to take damage. It's getting a little bit low as it is, and it seemed kind of pointless to be wearing it. And yeah, I came down here, didn't have feather falling on, so I died. But I've got all of my items back now, so it's okay. And I've been kind of distracted from what we were talking about. I think I was just touching on what I wanted to do down here. However, one thing, I was supposed to repair this before I came down here. I was going to use the anvil at my base, and now I don't even have the XP levels to do that. So I'm going to have to go to the end farm, which is where we're going to be going to get that obsidian anyway. But I was talking about this place down here. In the last episode, I think I said that I wasn't sure, you know, where I was at with this project because I had to change my mind, and it might take me some time before I know what I'm going to do down here. Well, I decided to go on my server and just try and come up with something, and I spent a lot of time on there playing with other people. What we did is we made a little template of this and copied it into a plot over and over again, and loads of people came on and played around and built with different things, and I've been on there building as well. And then over time we have managed to come up with something that is absolutely spectacular. I've had a lot of help from other people on the server, and together we have made an entrance to this base, because this is just the entrance that is going to look spectacular. So we might be starting that in the episode, the next episode even, I don't know, but it will be soon. It will be soon, and we'll be building something really cool down here, which I am really excited for. But anyway, I need to go to the end, repair this sword, I need to get some obsidian, and then when we've done that we can work on placing down all of these beacons. Ah yes, the like animation. I added that into the 200th episode special. That was the first time it made an appearance, and I was just so busy with editing that video and doing all kinds of stuff that I've since forgotten to mention who made that. That is actually made by MrMeola. He is a 3D animator. He has a very popular video that I will link to in the description box. If you want to go and check him out, please do, because he has done a fantastic job. I messaged him a while ago. He was, you know, someone who does animation. I was looking for someone who does that to create a little like reminder, and he did a fantastic job. It was pretty much exactly what I described to him, you know, a little guy like me, a little Asuma guy, a Doom guy, pops up on the screen and blows redstone at you. I thought it was hilarious. And I've also forgotten to ask you guys what you think of it as well. You know, likes are important. I'm not going to go on about that today, but throwing in one of those little like reminder animations seems to make the difference, and it's quite fun as well, having that little guy pop up on the screen. But yeah, that was made by MrMeola, so go and check him out and say thank you as well. He done a great job with that. And right now we need to head back to spawn, because we've got ourselves tons of obsidian for crafting the beacons, but now we need to get ourselves a lot of iron. So here we are. This is the iron foundry, the place to come and get iron, obviously. But I have a little bit of a funny story to tell you. Now, it is my responsibility to update the server to the latest snapshots, because we are a snapshot server, but some of those have been buggy, so we were kind of waiting for the right snapshot to come along. And the one that was the right snapshot was the one that nerfed the iron golems, so they wouldn't drop iron anymore, and zombie pigmen wouldn't drop gold as well. Now that would have broken the iron foundry, and we were aware that there were some fixes and workarounds, but they weren't really suitable for an iron farm that's located in the spawn chunks because no one's ever here, and it would only contribute lag to the server. So I had been talking to Mumbo Jumbo, and we had agreed that this thing was going to be redundant and that we should take it apart. And so I was going to come on here this episode and start dismantling the iron foundry. And then last night Jeb tweeted out that he was actually going to change the mobs back to how they were, so they would drop iron, although he didn't say that in exact words, but he said that he'd listen to everyone's outcries because there were lots of people on Reddit complaining about how these drops had been removed, because a lot of us, I assume if you're watching Hermitcraft, you're the kind of person that likes automation in this game. So Jeb has listened, and it's very likely in the next snapshot that this will not be broken, that the iron drops or the iron bars will be left in the game, which is awesome and very convenient timing because I was going to come over here this episode and actually dismantle this thing. But since I've been thinking about dismantling it, I've been thinking about what I want to do with these spawn chunks, because it feels like no one else is really interested in this area, and for a while now I've been wanting to tidy it up. And so if we were going to take the iron foundry apart, I was thinking that would give us an opportunity to rebuild this place. We could have the items that come through from the nether, we could have that hidden underground, have a really nice platform and build some structures around here and really make the spawn chunks, a welcome entrance to the server. And there's quite a few things I can think about putting here, but now that the iron foundry is going to be saved, then maybe we won't be doing that, but I still want to work on that project, so I might speak to Mumbo about actually dismantling his iron foundry and just rebuilding it somewhere nearby, still in the spawn chunks, but it would give us this area right here in the middle, because that's the very middle where the items come through from the end, to build a platform around that. And now I'm walking into a fence gate, fence post even. But enough babbling. I mean, there's something to think about for the future. What are we going to do with these spawn chunks? And it seems like the iron foundry has been saved for now, so we can continue to come over here and grab ourselves loads of iron. But we were even saying, even if it were to break, we have plenty of iron over here, a ridiculous amount that's going to last us for a very long time. But I'm certainly going to need a lot, so I'm going to take as much as my inventory can hold. And let's throw that away. We don't need that. So the first set of 4 beacons have been set up. As you can imagine, it has taken me quite some time. I've been double checking, where we're building this over and over again. And I've also removed all the other beacons in the area, by the way. So when we go up top, you'll see what it looks like with just what are going to be the permanent beacon beams set in place. But I was double checking the numbers, and I was pretty sure it was 50. And I checked the myth busting world, and there was, in the thing that I constructed there, a range of 60, and I almost built these things 60 blocks apart, but I thought no, I'm pretty sure it's 50. I went into the myth busting world to check, and of course I just outlined the 60th block area to check where the beacon effects ends, and it was 50, so I avoided making a huge mistake. But this is what it looks like, and it looks even better from up top, I think. But every one of the 4 that I've done so far has a little room like this, and I've just come up here with some silk touch shears to actually take back these ones, because I don't think they look that good like that. And this is the only one that has a little access ladder at the side as well, so I need to make those for the other ones. And I haven't really given too much thought as to how we're going to do these, but we'll probably put something like regeneration in the middle. The one that I'm not keen on is jump boost. For some reason I don't really like that one. I like gearing everything around just having the normal jump ability, and having that one is probably one I'm not too interested in. But the thing is, you only get regeneration plus one other. So with 5 beacons, we're probably going to have haste 2, speed 2, resistance 2, strength 2, and then regeneration and jump boost. I don't think there's a way to just select regeneration, but why don't we try and find out? That'd be a good idea. And then I can't click done until I've selected another one. That's interesting. And then I can't unselect it. Well, if I really don't like jump boost, one thing we could do is just have resistance 1 coming from one beacon. So let's say we were to do that, and then from another one we could have resistance 2, and then just select that. Now if we have a look at my effects here, it's just going to cancel out the resistance, isn't it? And it doesn't look like it's going to cause any derpiness. Well, that's good to know. That's probably what I'll end up doing, because I really don't like the jump boost that much. But we can try it out and see. And anyway, I'm going to make up my mind with... Well, I don't have to make up my mind, we just did that. We're going to have these 4 effects on level 2, and then we'll have resistance and regeneration on the one in the middle. But I will set that up properly and go around to all of them and do it. I think we should go above and have a look at what this looks like from up there. So this is what it looks like from up above. A lot of beacon beams, as you can imagine. It looks really cool, and I want to go and see it from over there where we'll be able to see all 4 collections of beams together. But before we do that, and I'm down to my last ender pearl, we want to have a look at what this looks like. So on all 4 of these, what I've done is I've just grouped them up like this, so there's a flat surface at the top and the glass comes all the way up to here, which I think looks really cool. And if you're wandering by and you look at that, it doesn't really look, I don't know, ugly. It's not much to talk about really, is it? It's just a little grid of blocks and glass. Anyway, let's go and throw an ender pearl in that direction and then see what it looks like. Yep, that is pretty cool, and it's only going to get bigger. Whoa, watch out, guy. But I think what I'm going to do next is actually go around and just configure up all of the beacons with the effects that we want so we can have them all working. So all of the beacons have been correctly configured. I've been double checking and making sure that they are all done, which they are, which is awesome. I'm especially going to like this speed effect. We get to get around real fast and have that wider field of view. But the haste is the one I'm thinking might catch me out a little bit, because now we can instant mine stone, and I tend to click a little bit when I'm walking around as it is, and we'll probably end up accidentally mining some stone. But we've done our first 4 group of beacons, and I was planning on doing all of them this episode, but I want to make, you know, a good start on this area down here, which is what I'm going to be doing in the next episode. I'm going to be showing you what it is we're going to build down here, and so I don't really have the time to set up the rest of the beacons. There are another 12 groups to go. It's going to take an awful long time, and so I think what we should look at doing is just a couple of those each episode, and then before we know it, they'll all be set up. But at least we've got the 4 basic ones for doing this area down here, which is a very good thing. But for the end of this episode, what I want to do is go over to the 1.7 area, because there have been some new shops set up in the commercial district, and one of them has definitely sparked my interest. So here we are in the 1.7 Hermittown commercial area, and it is raining. It is pretty damn moody. I don't like the rain in this game, but what can you do, eh? You could install a mod and turn it off. That's one thing you could do. But there is a path over here that leads somewhere. I did have a look. I don't know where that goes. I'm going to check it out in a moment. But there are a couple of interesting things that have been popping up around here. First of all, we have the junkometer. You can chuck some rubbish in there. And then, oh, and apparently now I can't open the chest. That might mean I'm about to disconnect. And there it goes. Okay, so the server's a bit laggy at the moment, but you can chuck your junk in and then it fills up this thing. And when it gets full, I don't know what happens, but I assume Mumbo will do something about that. But these 2 shops are really cool. Now this one here is a mushroom soup shop, so you can come in here, you can get yourself some mushroom soup by right clicking on these with a bowl, and that only costs 1 gold ingot, which I think is pretty fair. But I would be more interested in buying a mushroom a mushroom. I don't know what I was trying to say there, I really don't. But Jevin, if you are watching, I am interested, so name a price and I will pay you to bring one of these over to my base. In fact, no, I will pay you to bring 2 of them over to my base so that I can breed them. But this is the shop that I came here for. This is Slips Packed Ice shop. Now, you have to go all the way out to a biome to harvest this stuff. It was one of those things that I was planning on doing, and I think he's got quite a lot of this. Yes, he does, which is good, because I'm going to buy him out, or buy as much as I can. Let's see. Oh, and there's a zombie over here. Let's kill this guy. I need an ender chest. And this building right here, this is Zombie Cleo's, what is it called again? God damn it, why has there got to be zombies around at this time? I'm trying to record. It is the publishing company, that's right. And this is an awesome looking little building right here, bit of a modern build. I was about to attack this guy. I am so glad that I didn't, because he is supposed to be there. He's holding a bit of paper. Please sign in with Carol. So this is Carol right here. That is awesome. Whoa, I was about to attack that zombie Cleo. I shouldn't do that. Oh look, she's got more of them up here as well. That is absolutely awesome. That is so cool. I'm not going to open that door. I don't want to go in there. And they've got books and everything. That is awesome. I love it. That is so cool. Yeah, so another little building that's popped up here in the commercial area. And do you know what? When I was over here doing my little thing, no one else had gotten around to building their shops yet. And I kind of moved on. It'd be nice to come back here again. So maybe I should be thinking about, you know, doing my own little shop back here again. I hope everyone is using the community foundry. I will check on that in a moment. But right now I need to find myself an ender chest. And I think there's one down the back here. Let's go and have a look. Okay, that was weird. Right as I saw it, I get shot by a skeleton. There should not be any way a skeleton can spawn in here. All the light levels should be good, so I don't know what's going on there. Looks like I need to double check something. And now there's a sheep. This is a strange, a strange time on this server, it feels. Right, let's grab that. That was a strange sentence as well, right there. Some of these days, you know, I just have trouble with the words. If you listen carefully to some of the stuff I say, sometimes I leave an S off of the word when it's a plural. Ugh, it's really strange. Anyway, the price is, we have a look here, and the look is what we're having. Welcome to Slip's Packed Ice Shoppy. Please leave payment in the payment chest. All reasonable offers will be accepted. The going rate is for packed ice is 1 diamond for 3 stacks. So 1 diamond gets us 3 stacks. That is an amazing price right there. And I have brought with me lots of diamonds. So 1, 2, 3. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and I'm going to need room for more. So 7 so far. I'm just going to go and dump some of that in my ender chest. Okay, let's get rid of these junky items. So it was 7 and 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and you know what? That is such a good price that he can just have all 16 of those. An extra 2 diamonds as a tip for a wonderful service right there. That is fantastic. That saves me a load of time and effort. Is that going to go through? Oh, I thought there would be a hopper underneath, and there isn't, so there you go. That is an excellent, excellent deal right there. So I was doing a bit of editing, just, you know, finishing off the video before I wrap things up, and I noticed that I'm standing over here throwing junk onto the floor when the junkometer is just around the corner, which is a little bit silly if you ask me, but oh well, it doesn't matter, those items have despawned. And I guess that kind of wraps things up this episode. If you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like, it is always appreciated. But as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.